it. So I'll usually text her and see, but I mean, even my phone wasn't working. Nothing was working. And I'm like, what the heck's going on? I thought, oh, well, it's just going to do it. Nothing I can do about it. And it was close enough to when you were coming on. I figured if you weren't out there, somebody else would have been to come in. But yeah, nothing I could do about it. It was really weird.
Yeah, I happened to be listening, and I was like, uh-oh, she went down. So I jumped on. Tim came on, and I said, nope,
Oh,
I
good.
got it.
Good.
So I was like, so I
Well, sorry
did like
about
a
that. Yeah.
three and a half
Crazy.
hour show. So,
Yep. Oh, tell me about it. The other was it Monday night. Pam didn't come in. He must have been sleeping, and I ended up. Oh, I was in for an extra hour. That was a 4-hour show. Plus, then I put on a video and just played a video. And he came in when it was over, I guess, and put another video on. But
I'd already talked to Soka. I said, I just can't because I end up with only, by the time I get off, and once you're on the drilling, you gotta,
yeah, wind
all the,
down.
yeah,
Yeah.
your mind, you gotta, see, I'm already on adrenaline. Yeah, you gotta come down that high, that adrenaline high, or
Yep.
and
And
calm
try to
your,
relax.
yeah,
Yep.
that's the word I'm looking for. Relax, trying to relax your mind and everything. By the time I do that, it's another hour, so I only get about 2 or 3
Yeah.
hours of sleep.
Yep. Same here. Exactly the same here. And I've got to get up early for my classes and do all that stuff. And I got all the I've been putting in long hours lately, but it's I'm learning a lot. That's what I'm there for. But yeah, I remember the days when I've put in 6 and 8 hour shifts on PSP before. It's been a long time, but I've done it.
Yeah, I wouldn't. It wouldn't bother me so much if I didn't have to take my grandson to school, and then I had,
Yeah, yeah.
and then I have to. Then I have about 2 hours between. There's 2 or 3 hours go by so fast. I got about 2 to 3 hours before I have to get in, get back up, and actually go to work. So
Uh,
it
I can't
just
nap either. Can you nap? I've never been
not
able, even
not
as a
very
little
well.
kid, I couldn't. Yep, I can't unless I'm sick. I can always tell if I'm getting sick. I'll be able to sleep in the afternoon. Otherwise, nope. I've never been able to. I remember my mom putting us down for naps, and I'd be laying there twiddling my fingers, and oh, gee, I hated it because I'd be so bored. I just couldn't sleep.
There are
But
two
if I could,
conditions.
that'd be nice. I mean, you too. If you could, it'd be nice because then you could cram in a few cat naps in a day.
Yeah. Well, there's two conditions: sick or just plain exhausted. My
I
body.
can't.
I mean, I actually. It's funny because I'll put on Pastor Mark Driscoll out of Arizona. I'll put on him, and I'll fall asleep.
Oh,
I mean, I guess
well,
it's just.
maybe that's what you have to do.
I will. I used to when what's his face. I don't listen to him anymore. He got. But there was another one you know, I would fall asleep because I don't know, Holy Spirit. I don't know. It's just relaxing, listening to the Bible, and
Yeah.
Pastor Mark is really, I only I like Pastor Mark because he really gets and digs. He really digs into his study on Gideon and Elijah and the judges, and I mean he calls it it's not just reading the Bible. He reads through the Bible and he shows the the parallels of what was going on back then and what's now. Speaking of
Ah,
which, I just finished going through 2 Kings 16, 17, 18, and 19, and where they're talking about the sieges, the siege of the northern kingdom of Israel and the
mm-hmm.
southern kingdom. And I realized, do you realize we are under siege? I mean, think about what they've been doing with I've been talking about water. I've been hearing about these states that are having problems with water. People are like, we're running out of water. We don't have clean water.
Such a
Everybody's running
lie.
out of water. And that's
Not true.
manufactured. And then,
Yep.
Saturday, I was able to get a little bitty video of the some of the, I'm going to do a bigger block, but what's going on with the farmland around here. And Tayana was sitting there saying that, oh, it's strawberry farms. I'm like, they have not been doing that. And I got to thinking, and when you dig a little bit, think about it a little bit deeper. The pot farms. I was thinking, it's like the raid on the pot farm back in July. It's triggered something because they're not cultivating, they're not doing the same thing that they've been doing for the last 3 years or almost 3 years since we've been here. And yeah. Anyway, so I'm thinking, well, what better way to keep people stoned but pot farms? That's the reason why they did the pot farms, because then they use the pot to make you think you're not hungry anymore. It's a appetite suppressant. So then you don't know that they're still in your food. You don't have food anymore because they're growing all this pot. And so we've been under siege. They've been attacking our food supply. I mean, think about Pottersville, the farmers. I've heard a couple of farmers talking about how Newsom wants to open up the dam, and apparently by opening up the dam, it will cause them to lose water. And so what happens with the water? They can't feed their cattle. They can't, not their cattle, but the herd, their cows. They can't water their cows. They can't feed their cows because they don't have any crops. So, I mean, we've been under siege and we didn't know it. And,
like you were saying, it's manufactured. President Trump got California water at the drop of a hat. It's there. They keep flushing excess out to the ocean, and then they pretend they don't have any. Yeah, I was thinking that OU81Q. Actually, pot is an appetite stimulator.
Is it?
Yes, big time stimulator. Yeah,
but your
theory is still good. Your theory is still good because when people are doped up or drunk, remember what was open during the COVID was distractions like strippers, booze, all that stuff. But churches, no, the churches weren't. But it was just ridiculous what happened. But it was all done on purpose. But no, the water thing, California's. I mean, they've got the Pyramid Lake. They've got all these different places. It always worked before. Why is it when a communist gets into office, all of a sudden there's no water? I think Gavin's going down. I think once the vote fraud's taken care of, because the federal elections will be done with hand counts, with paper ballots day of, and a closing time, and no ballots accepted after that. It will be done. And California's, I don't know how they're planning on getting around that. That's why Trump's getting rid of all the illegals. Yeah, there's a step process you have to do. Get rid of the illegals, because all they have to do is register to vote. They don't have to vote. They just have to register. So when they count the votes that are bad, what they've done is they've just taken these registered votes and put them in the machine, and the machine puts them wherever they want, right? The machines are all crooked. So they do that. But with the hand counting, as long as they're registered, they can steal the ballots and pop them any way they want. So to get rid of them, that's why they're going after the voter rolls in California. What's his name? Can't think of it. Judicial Watch. Going after the voter rolls and purging dead people and illegals off of them. They're trying to curtail any ability to cheat, because they're always going to be cheating. They're going to find ways. They're typical. But to make it as minimal as possible, and then they'll have it so that it's all like it's as above board as possible.
Yeah.
And I think people should get a receipt for their vote also. When you vote, you should be able to get a receipt that only you have that tells you how you voted. So you can check it right there and say, wait a minute, I didn't vote for that. You got that wrong, and they can fix that.
Yeah. Well, you're talking about Tom Fitton, but yeah, and before I go to the vote, I just want to point out too, all these people that screaming, and I've seen the memes. It's just that it didn't register, and it just dawned on me because all these people screaming, "Who's gonna pick your food?" Well, you ever heard of John Deere farm
James
equipment?
Comey.
Huh?
James Comey.
Well, John Deere.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's who picked it before the illegals were here. It's like it's not rocket science. It's
well,
crazy.
this for the first time in like I said, since we've been here since November 2022. I've actually seen tractors out on the field, doing the tilling work, and I don't know what else they're doing, but they're
Wow, what a
definitely
novel idea.
they're stirring up the ground. They're breaking, and it's like, are you kidding me? And the crop rows are a lot neater and different. I mean, unless they're just doing the crop rotation, I don't know, but it really. I mean, I know there have been times over the you know last few years. I'm like, how did I miss that? But no, this time it's not just how did I miss that. It's totally different. It's and I've ordered me I didn't realize that camcorders are actually kind of cheap these days, but I ordered a one of the cheaper ones I could find, and so I'm going to go out and try to do and just show. I mean, the miles, the acres, the miles of what it's at, and if it is and I'm not questioning Tayana's opinion about whether or not strawberries or not, but I've never seen this many strawberry farms since we've been here. I mean,
Oh,
it's just like
interesting.
they've cropped up all over the place. And think about that, supply and demand. What happens when you have a lot of supply, like strawberries? Strawberries should be
Price goes
coming
way
down
down.
then.
Yeah, I haven't bought them for a long time because I'm doing carnivore right now, but not kind of ketovore right now. But um, yeah, so it's kind of interesting. How much was your camcorder? What brand did you get?
I don't know. It's a cheap one. It was about $60.
Oh, wow, that's cheap.
Yeah, I mean, there were some others, but I borrowed one to tape the football, one of my grandson's football games, and uh, only one the only reason why I did it is because of my football game, but and I got it kind of a cheaper one than what this other person had, um, so we'll see. She said that her recorder started acting up on Saturday because you get what you pay for. So hopefully
Yeah, it's true. Well, as long as it gets you what you need it for, it's sometimes, the technology goes bad after a while. So if it only lasts you a year or two, you can get a double or triple the technology for the new camcorder and just throw the old one out.
yeah. Well, hopefully, I mean it's got a SD card. I was like, I don't even know how any of this is going to work. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
you'll figure it out. You do pretty good with that stuff. You'll figure it out. It'll
But
be fun. I mean, I'd like to see, it's always fun to go out and like I've got some videos I took riding my bike around. I think some going down to the river and stuff like that. I need to put music to it because my sister and I were talking. It's like we don't want our private conversation out there, but no, I might do it again when the leaves start changing and as long as it's not too cold. But just put that on and people like to watch stuff like that just to see what it's like. And plus in the middle of winter when you're bored and everything's all grubby, it's nice to have a video like that to watch and you just put it on if you're tired and just put it on air and let people watch it. They're fun.
well, it's going to be it's going to have to be one of those because where I'm at and the location. I've got to do it like on a Sunday and early Sunday morning when there's not a lot of cars out because
Yeah.
just because the shoulders and the safety issue, and you never know
Yep.
who might show up. And I got pulled over by the base police outside of base a couple of weeks ago, and
Really.
I didn't. I think I told you, but I didn't. He came. the one police officer just came up and asked me for my ID, my registration, and insurance. And if he said why he was pulling me over, I didn't hear it. Anyway, so they ran it, and he gave everybody, I was like, okay, I got my insurance right here. It's on my phone. I got to find it, It's like, you're panicking. And so, so while they're running it, and another officer came up, and as he was going, okay, you're free to go. I just make sure you get that light fixed. And I'm like, what light? Because no one told me. It's like, so your license plate light. And I'm like, oh. And it took me a while what he was talking, because I was thinking tail light, and I forgot about license plate have a light. So.
Oh yeah, I forgot all about them having a light.
So I said, oh, okay, get that done as soon as possible. I said, okay. So they let me go. I was like, but it's like, okay, I saw the lights. It's like, what did I do?
You never know, really. It's like, oh geez, what? It's been a long time since I've been pulled over. I used to get pulled over all the time. I'm not kidding. I was pulled over more than 100 times.
Ooh.
And I just lost track. I mean, that's a long, and it was weird. I only got 2 tickets, and it was on the same street in the same place in Spokane that I got a ticket. But I figured I just took it and didn't argue, because I knew there were so many times I should have got a ticket and didn't. But yeah, I haven't been pulled over for probably 25 years. Long, long, long time.
Yeah.
It's something to do, I guess. So yeah, I got a thing that it's a suction cup thing that fits on my window and on the inside of my window, and I just put my phone up there, and that's what I did most of my recording with, was my phone. But it has horrible audio, and it does shake a little bit. And you're not going to get a really good picture because you're filming through glass.
Yeah.
But it was okay. But I would like to have something, a cam. I think they're coming down pretty good for those too.
Well, the thing with my phone's already got so much stuff on it that
That's a problem, getting storage.
Yeah. So, but hey, good news is I finally got back. So apparently, DLive fixed their app problem, so now I can look at DLive. I tried it this evening or earlier, and so now I can. I got the DLive app back, so now I can look at PSP on DLive chat and interact with DLive chat.
Randomly I get like a upstairs computer right now. I can't pick it up on Firefox. It just gives me a black screen for DLive. On Brave or Opera, I can sometimes get it to work, but usually it's just a black screen. Everything's there, like the header and it says DLive, and sometimes it won't even let me go into DLive. I don't know what's going on with that. Probably the firewall in Windows or something. But yeah, it drives me crazy because it just does it randomly, and usually it's like, so if I want to listen to you, I have to fiddle around a little bit to get it to work. But yeah, it's frustrating when the computer, it's like all of a sudden it's like, I didn't do this. Why is this stupid computer doing this? Somebody has done it, because they don't do anything. You don't tell them not to. Oh my God. As I'm talking to you, I'm watching Chasing Reality, and some bimbette wearing a G-string and bunny ears just pranced across the street right in front of him. Oh my God.
Have you seen those videos? There's this one where this lady, I guess you could call her a lady, she has this long skirt, and she's, I don't know what to think about some of these videos out there, because I think a lot of them are fake. I think a lot of them are there to get people stirred up, but they basically, because she was standing in front of the car, and there's this one guy in scrubs, and he just kind of walking around, and they claim that the agents threw her down on the floor or on the ground because she started cussing them out, and they just body slammed her to the ground. And I'm like, it's like, look at their uniforms. Are they in actual uniforms? Nobody's going to know the difference between a true uniform.
Yep, that's true.
So, It just, and, oh, but, what you were saying about the elections to go to that, I actually, of course, they're spending all this money on, and I've been talking about it on last two shows, last week and Saturday about Proposition 50. Oh, Newsom wants to change their voting, or not their voting, their redistricting, but because of the Constitution in California that says they have to have an independent commission drawing the map, and he wants to get around that. And so now they want everybody to vote on Proposition 50, which would basically do away with that. Or they want to vote yes on Proposition 50, which is, oh, it's supposed to be temporary. It's like, no. Once you give them that, it'll never be temporary, you know?
Yeah, yeah. What they want in there, they'll never get rid of.
No. I mean, because they were saying it's, you know, it's to fight against, it's to fight. I mean, they already got the map ready. I mean, as soon as Proposition 50 is voted on, and they are assuming, it's like, we need to make sure that this thing does not get traction as far as it. There needs to be enough people to vote no that it, you know, that but
Well,
that it can't be
problem is,
rigged.
Deb, the problem is that it is rigged. Remember, Newsom was recalled twice.
Right.
And the votes, I mean, it doesn't do any good if the same way he got in the first time has not been rectified. The election fraud has to be fixed before you can have these recalls, and before you can, because it'll pass. If they want it to pass, it'll pass because they run the machines.
Well, the problem is like, well, and I mean, good point, but all the what you would call the conservative propositions in 2024, they passed. Like the one about lowering the felony charges if someone stole, like it was like you could steal anything under $900 or $999. Well, during this last election, they lowered it. The voters recalled that and lowered it to 450. And
You believe that? I don't believe that for 2 seconds. I don't think it ever passed in the first place.
No, it did.
Think,
what
I'm saying is the fraud. It's the fraud that anything good is, they're going to either say, okay, that's not constitutional. They have their ways of, like in Washington State, the voters overwhelmingly, and I mean, it blew the doors off. They couldn't even cheat their way out of it. They overwhelmingly said car tags, yearly car tags, $24 a year. Didn't matter what kind of car you had. People buy a brand new car and they were having to pay like $2,000 or $3,000 a year for their tags.
Jeez.
So yeah, it was crazy. So people were finally pissed off and they said, "Oh no, you don't." So $24, and that stayed in. And then they figured out, oh, that's a tax. Oh well, we're going to do this, and they started raising it up. So, oh, we're adding on fees. These are fees. This isn't a tax. This is a fee. And they shot them right back up where they were before using so-called fees. And that's how they get around stuff. A bunch of criminals. And that's happening in California too, because they remember a gas tax when it got raised. Both your tax and our tax went up on July 1st. There's no coincidence there.
Well, that was through the assembly. That wasn't through the voting, though. That's the thing on that. I mean, nobody.
Still, what I'm saying is that the gas tax went on the same day.
Yeah.
July 1st in California and July 1st in Washington State. That's not a coincidence. They're working in collusion up and down the West Coast. They're all communists. Disgusting.
Well, all I know is when they voted to lower the felony charge, I mean, like 2 or 3 months later, there was a couple of girls that got arrested for shoplifting for stealing over $400 worth of stuff. I mean, now whether the judge let them off, I don't know, but they were actually arrested.
That's your other problem. Yeah.
Yeah. But
that's the other problem. You got these judges in. That's why President Trump that's why you don't see any arrests. That's why you're not seeing arrests yet with Comey's coming up. So apparently whatever district he's in that would be trying the case, they must feel confident they've got a fairly good judge, because they have to replace all these stupid judges, the communist judges that have been breaking the law with their so-called decisions. And until that's taken care of, like I kept telling people, there's no point in arresting somebody if the
Right.
judges go and you have double jeopardy. They can't be arrested for the same crime again. So you got a corrupt judge that lets them go. You can't arrest them for that crime
Yeah.
once that judge is gone. So that's why they're putting off with most of these crimes until they can get things straightened out in that regard, because otherwise it's a waste of money and resources.
Yeah. Well, I also saw that Letitia James could be
Yeah.
indicted any time now too.
Yeah, so it's telling me that they're starting to clean up the judges. It's getting to that point. It's been what, 8 or 9 months since he got into office. Certain things happen. People barking about the Epstein files. Well, yeah. Well, guess what? If as long as they make it clear that the Democrats got a hold of those files and put fake stuff in there, people, and you can release them, but you don't know what's true. They have contaminated the evidence, which was pretty smart on their part, because now they can't be used in a court of law. But
Yeah.
then you're going to have these nitwits that believe what's in there is all of it's true. And so, now the latest thing today, Comey was, or Epstein was CIA. Oh my God, he was CIA. Well, yeah, he said in the 90s, he said he was. Come on, people, catch up.
Well, the thing
He
is,
admitted he was CIA back in the early 90s. And I'm like, yeah, well, why do you think he got a slap on the wrist for the pedo charges so that he could
right.
infiltrate? It's just ridiculous.
Well, the thing is, even if President Trump was completely exonerated, and we already know he was on the flight logs, but even if he was completely exonerated from any of that, they wouldn't believe it anyway. Most of them are paid shills.
They make it up. Look at them. They just make stuff up and then tell other people, and then they go shoot people for it, for made up crap.
Right.
It's just, they don't care. The facts do not matter to them because the truth is not in them. They're working for Satan, and that's how Satan rolls. It's just, people. It's frustrating, but you look at like the people that are killing, like Charlie Kirk and the Ruth guy, Ryan Ruth. He tried to kill himself in court, and I got thinking about him. He was set up. Somebody set him up to do what he did for money, because he didn't supposedly have any money, but he sure had enough. He had enough air miles. He was going to Ukraine and training people to be in the Ukrainian army, the snipers and stuff, which was interesting because the guy that shot Charlie Kirk also had Ukrainian ties.
Well, did you see that thing about the ICE agents in Dallas, the ICE facility in Dallas today?
Yeah, I heard about that guy, the 29-year-old guy shooting them and shooting the detainees and then himself.
Well,
Almost
talk about. I don't even want to go down the rabbit hole with Charlie Kirk. I mean, that's a very elaborate scheme. If it's a psyop, that's a very elaborate scheme.
Occam's razor, whatever is the simplest answer is usually the right one. There's a lot of supposition, but when you listen to what the doctor said, the coroner found in Charlie, there's, this didn't happen. There are some odd things. I got to tell you, her, like Erica's background is odd. Very odd, actually.
But any of that can be made up. That's the thing.
That's it. But I don't think it is. They do live in Arizona, and they talked about why they were there. I know a lot about the MK Ultra programs, and I know about how they work things with the honeypots. And I mean, it's like, do I think it's the fact? I don't know. I just think, well, it bears looking at and then putting it aside, taking them for their word. And when odd things happen, then pull it back out and see if it fits into a puzzle. Because there's a lot of things. Look at JFK. People say, they can't hold secrets that long. Yeah, they can. It's been 60, 70 years since our JFK was killed, and they still had secrets. People do hold secrets, and they do keep quiet. But yeah, with that Charlie Kirk thing, I don't know. There's some odd things coming out, but a lot of it is based on misinformation to begin with. So you have to be careful about what they believe. The doctor said he was shot. He said it was a miracle that the bullet should have gone through him and through his body and exited, but the bullet was found under his skin. It had gone in And apparently it ripped up. He said even if he had been on the operating table or in the operating room when he was shot, he couldn't have saved him because the amount of damage it did. But the trajectory, when a bullet goes into something, it does move. It goes off course a little bit because it meets resistance. And he said he had extremely strong bones. And he said the bullet went off into the bones and blah, 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 ended up under his skin and didn't exit the body. But it was interesting to hear that. So when you hear that was a coroner telling the doctor what happened. I don't have their names. I imagine those will come out at some point. But when you hear that, then you realize, they're talking about trap doors and all this other stupid crap. Oh my God, I'm watching the videos and thinking, you people, do you not see what's in front of your eyes? It's just crazy stuff. But it's just, they're set to a degree. You need to look at what's being said, and you can usually, like, a lot of the stuff that came out first couple of days is like, that's nonsense. Nope, that's stupid. No. And who was it? Crowdsourced the truth. I can't think of his last name. He was pushing that there was a UFO or it's like, oh my God. And I told him, like, in 3 different posts, I said, look, there are a bunch of things. I said, it's dirt on the lens. It's dirt on the lens. They all move in tandem. It's just, see this UFO, or a drone. It's like, it's not a freaking drone. It was dirt on the lens. You can see other spots. It's like, just open your eyes, guy. He wants it to be a conspiracy so bad. He's got to, and I get that, but still.
Well, that's like, I listened to Pastor Rob. Pastor Rob is, as often, said that Charlie Kirk said that he was his pastor. And Pastor Rob said, he came out and says Charlie Kirk was not scheduled to go out to South Korea because he was going to go to England to go debate those Yale, Oxnard or wherever. Anyway, and the way Pastor Rob said it, there's this young lady. She's a conservative in South Korea, and she's kind of the South Korean counterpart to Charlie Kirk in the sense she started her own, not chapter TP, TP Turning Point, but something similar to it for South Korea. And because she's needing help as far as, because there's a pastor in South Korea, the previous president that was basically run out of office, like they did with Belisaro. Basically she's needing help, and she asked Pastor Rob, do you think Charlie Kirk would come out here? And so he could see, and Pastor Rob was like, no, I don't think he will, but, I'll ask him. And Charlie Kirk jumped on the chance to get there. So they actually had traveled together the weekend before to go to South Korea. And that's the reason I have no reason to doubt that narrative, but that's the reason why it was there. And so,
Frank Turek brought that up too. He talked about all that.
So, so I don't even, it's like, to me, okay, what's the end result? You got this mass group of, you had this mass, I didn't watch it on Sunday, and you just had this mass gathering, which, again, I get the weird thing about having all of the presidential cabinet, they must have been very secure in believing that they had that place secured down.
Yeah, I thought that too. Well, Charlie helped get almost all of them put into place.
Right. So, he knew it.
Everybody knew him. For 31 years old, that guy knew everybody on the planet that was anybody. It was just the weirdest thing.
Is it a granite? I don't know, maybe. God works in mysterious ways. Let's not discount the fact that it could have all been done. I don't know. But, for me, I think it's all a distraction. So I'm like, to me, what matters is look at the people that have come to Jesus, have their come to Jesus moments. They did the altar call. How many people actually got saved? And Yeah,
It's been big. Yeah, and it's been a big spiritual thing. People that didn't even believe in God, even they're being affected. Jack talked about that tonight. He said he's had various people, big, high profile people contacting him saying, I don't know what this is. Um, but they're a calling to read the Bible and things like that where they'd never even thought about it before. That is God moving.
exactly. So they're
It's
trying
God
to,
moving.
these people that are trying to minimize, like I said, at this point, I don't care if it, because I just want the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I want, whether, at this point, I'd like to see, like you said, we can't have them until we get rid of the judges, but I think President Trump calling out the UN, I mean,
Yes.
I,
Yeah.
I'm not sensitive necessarily in the spirit, but I keep hoping, I keep praying that, hey, things are moving, things are happening, that I think that if I hear President Trump says we're going to have a glorious Christmas this year, I think that will be my affirmation that, okay, it's coming to the head. We're at the
Well,
climax,
they're
but
fighting him. Yeah.
think of the the fact that, I mean, people keep pointing out, hey, maybe this is the turning point. It's like we're at the climax. It's time for, at the climax of the movie, if you will, and it's
Yeah.
time for the second the last act is over. It's almost over. I hope so. I'm just, I
Everybody's
know,
exhausted.
huh?
Everybody's exhausted. It's just been dragged out for so long. But yeah, we know, I don't know if you know, I know that the tribulation is not far off. All the signs are pointing there. You're seeing all kinds of crazy stuff. Now they're saying that Russia is actually financially in big trouble along with China. Well, guess who marches into Israel to try and rob them? Bible says to take a spoil, Russia and China. Go try to attack Israel to get because remember, Israel is now oil rich. They have a whole bunch of things that are very lucrative for a country to have, and they try to go in and steal it. The Bible talks about that. I think it's the Ezekiel 38 war. But those things are up and coming, and we've got a tribulation coming up too, because we're seeing everything line up for that with the electronic currency and the technology stuff being pushed so hard, and autonomous machinery to do our work for us, all these crazy things. And then the uprooting of different nations and the unrest that is going on, the wars and rumors of wars, all that stuff, that upheaval is happening, and it's a lead in. So I just figure, the tribulation's coming in very, very soon. I mean, very soon. Rapture too. I'm a pre-trib person. I absolutely believe that we'll be out of here. And think about if all the Christians suddenly just vanished off the earth, all these nut jobs. That's what they want. They don't want us here. Well, think about what kind of a world it will be with crazy people uh, that will shoot you for just saying the wrong thing and think that
Yeah.
they should be able to do that. Those people will be running things, and it's like that's coming. And the Bible said it's the worst time mankind will ever know or ever has known. And you think about some of the bad things that have happened in the past, it's going to be worse. This is going to be like on steroids. So
I think there's definitely gonna be a remnant, because there's almost has to be, if you got the millennium reign.
yeah. Oh, there's that Jews Fight Back X account had some interesting stuff on it today. Thanks, Heidi. That was a good post. They found gold in the Golan Heights. Well, Sergio and Rhoda had something that they brought up too. Um, bunch of things happening. Yes, the Jews Fight Back's archaeologists in Israel just uncovered a treasure hoard of 22 bronze coins hidden in tunnels near Galilee, tied to a forgotten Jewish uprising against Rome. These coins date back 1,600 years to the Gallus Revolt, 351 to 352, the last Jewish revolt against Roman rule. This is not just ancient history, it's hard evidence of Jewish resistance, Jewish presence, and Jewish roots in the land of Israel that go back thousands of years. Every coin screams the same truth. Jews are indigenous to this land. Jews fought for it then, and they're fighting for it now. Yeah, that's excellent. Thank you, Heidi. That's 1,600 years. That's before Muhammad even was thought of.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's, yeah, I get frustrated with these people, these people that are, you know, yeah, I don't care if I really don't care if Netanyahu, I don't know if Netanyahu is a good guy or bad guy. I don't know if he's playing a role or not. I don't care. I think people don't understand the significance of Israel. And I mean, people still don't get it. And
They don't want to.
well,
They're
the
believing
thing,
lies. They
well,
hate Israel because somebody told them to hate them.
well, yeah, yeah, it's the infiltrators that have come in from the, that, say that they, the Sharia law, these Sharia law people. I mean, do they not? I mean, yeah, it's like Israel's
Who
the
does it
boogeyman.
benefit? Who does it benefit to get everybody hating on Israel? Who does it benefit? And who's behind it? Well, gee whiz, who could it be? The infiltrators from Islam into all these nations all of a sudden. The leftists, the globalists who want to take over the world, they think they're going to control all that. Think about who does it benefit to say that this itty bitty little 72-mile strip of land in the Middle East surrounded by Muslim countries is a problem. It's just ridiculous I mean, it's just stupid. It's unbelievably stupid. If they'd read a Bible, they'd pick up their Bible. The prophecies in the Bible have never been wrong. They have been spot on. And there's still a lot of prophecy yet to happen. The Bible said the Jews would be back in their land May 14th, 1948. And guess what? That's when they got back into their land. They were, oh, that's not their land. Well, then you better tell God that because God set up the prophecy to say that they'd be back in the land on that day. They are the Jews. Who else would it be? God put them in the land. He opens up the land for Israel. Who else would it be?
Well, think about
It's not
this.
so-called Palestinians.
Look at okay. Think about this. Okay, 2 Kings 18 and 19, when Assyria, Sennacherib, went after Judah. At that time, is the northern kingdom had, oh yeah, when the king of Assyria had gone after the 10 northern tribes of Israel. Okay, it split Judah and Benjamin, and then the rest of them were, and they ran all the Israelites off. And what did he do? He replaced them with other nations. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I read that. It's like, there's your replacement theology. They
Yep.
replaced these people into the promised land that God promised Israel in the northern kingdom. It's just that I got tired of these evil kings that did child sacrifice and the idolatry and, bowing down to the Baals and, the false gods. That's the reason why the northern kingdom got.
That's right.
And then, when Jehoshaphat allowed Jezebel's and Ahab's daughter to be married to his son, and so she influenced. So that was the real turning point where the Judah was but because there were a couple of kings like Hezekiah and Josiah that brought it. He just delayed the judgment on the southern kingdom because you had two bad, wicked kings. Not only did they try to go in and basically take over the temple where the sacrifices were the priests were supposed to, but they sacrificed their kids into
Yeah.
the child sacrifice. So that's when God said no. That's when He allowed Assyria or Babylon to take them. But
He did that. The Jews couldn't get away with misbehaving. I mean, they would go out. I mean, think about when Moses took them out of Egypt, and he's gone for a month, and they all go back to worshiping and Satan and sacrificing their kids to bronze or gold idols. And it's like they couldn't even wait a month. Well, where is he? He's probably not coming back. So hey, let's make a golden calf and sacrifice our kids to it. Well, God sees that, and He's not going to let that go unpunished. He can't. So
Well,
he punishes them, and it happens all the time. Then they become repentant. All 3,000 of them got killed. God killed 3,000 of them. But no, it's the repentance thing, and it's a cycle, and it happens. It just happens. It happens to it's human nature. They aren't any different as a people group than we are. They misbehave. God spanks them. They ask for forgiveness, and God pulls them back into the fold and starts treating them well, and then they start getting complacent, and it's a cycle, and it's a very well known cycle.
well, it's that generation. Each generation has to meet God on for themselves. Can't force it on them. But uh, gosh, what you were saying about it's like I say it's the Israelites, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's the promise. You know, when God says, "I will bless you, bless those who bless you," they were referring to the. He was referring to the child of promise, which was Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Hmm.
And I thought I was going with somebody. I was with. Gosh, all of a sudden I just lost it. Uh, but they are the chosen. You know, Jerusalem. That's the reason why Jerusalem, being the capital of Judah, is so important, because you have the psalm that says, "Pray for the peace of Jerusalem."
Right.
And so, I mean, it's like, just read the Bible, like you said, just read the Bible. But no, gosh, I missed it. I missed it. I don't know.
Pray
And
for
after,
pray for the peace of Jerusalem is to get the peace of Jerusalem comes at the expense of millions of Jews during the tribulation. You're praying for the time after to bring about the tribulation. God tells you to do that. Some people say, "Oh, you just want to blah blah blah." No, God tells us to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. That ushers in the tribulation, and then finally the repentance and salvation of the Jews at the end of the tribulation. Uh, but
uh,
yeah, it's,
yeah,
it's interesting. It's we're seeing it play out, which is pretty awesome in a way. Scary but awesome.
but the Israelites are through the tribe of Jacob. And oh yeah, people sitting there saying, "Oh, Israel's not a place; it's a person." But there are plenty of places in the Bible where the founding father, the father of the tribe, was the town, the nation.
Hmm. Yep.
And it's just like, oh my gosh, I just, people make me
Well,
nuts
it,
when
it
you try.
shows, Dad. Tells me they don't read their Bible.
No, it's
If
because
you read your,
I,
yeah,
I think
they're
it's because they're Muslim, I think it's because they're
that too.
Muslim.
Some of them I believe we have Muslim agitators that come into chat. Absolutely, I believe that. And they pretend to be Christian, but I've never seen them quote a Bible verse ever, 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 ever. But they're always downplaying and hating on the Jews. It's like, really? Well, that's interesting. And finally, I realize they're only in chat to stir up. And when you're saying Israel bad, what are you doing? You're saying basically that Islam is good because those in the Middle East, those are the two big things is Islam and Judaism.
Well,
So,
it's a fight between two brothers who were looking for their daddy's love, yeah, pretty
and
much.
it's spiritual war.
You know,
It's a spiritual
well,
warfare.
it's like Pastor Mark says that when Abraham and Sarah allowed Hagar, who is Egyptian, by the way, in and she has that spirit of Hamas. That Hamas
Yeah.
means violence. So that's what that demonic spirit has attached itself all these
This to
centuries.
simplify it more than that is Jesus said, "You're with me or you're against me." We
Mm.
know at some point the Jews will be saved. The remnant will be saved. But the ones that are fighting against Israel that God has had to put down many times, it's just a satanic influence. It's Satan because they're not saved and they're not God's, they're not, I mean, you could see somebody from Hamas could become a Jew. I mean, they could convert to Judaism. Um, or they could convert to Christianity And that's a whole different ballgame, but they don't. They're run by Satan. Jesus said, you're with me or you're against me. Well, guess who's against him? Satan. So
Mm-hmm.
you've got problems with that. Um, and Israel is the apple of God's eye. He said many times in the Bible, he is never going to change that. They are, they are, those people are his chosen people. And there's times when he kicked him to the curb a few times. He had to, because I mean, you start doing stupid, bad stuff, God can't reward you for that. So he waits till they come back, and they do. It's over and over and over again in the Bible, and that should be a lesson to us as well, because
Okay.
those lessons are for us too.
Okay, I remember now what I was trying. The point I was going to try to make. It's when God, when the promise of the Israelites, they were set apart. They were supposed. God wanted them set apart. They were to be the example of how to live for God. But because they allowed the outside influences, these, and that's the reason why, that was the reason why God said, do not marry outside of the, do not marry into these pagan nations, because they will turn your heart against me. So that's what the Israelites were supposed to do. They were supposed to be the example. That's the reason why God showed them power. I mean, that's the reason why when you got Rahab the harlot, and she's always described as Rahab the harlot, when she meets the two spies, she says, I've heard of your God. I want to, she had the obedience, that fear. Even Ruth, that's the reason why they're in the lineage of Jesus. And it's just like, oh, why can't people see that? I know there's the
There's a lot.
spiritual blindness, but still, it's
Yeah.
like,
And plus, there's a lot in the Bible. When you first read it, it's very confusing. And it takes, I think, though, in these end times, I think God is speeding up the understanding because he wants people to understand his book, his manual. But when you first read it, it's so much the history, but he does repeat the history throughout the book several times. So it kind of sinks in after a while. But yeah, Rahab, you got some that were, who was it? Remember Sarah? Was it Sarah that had her father's icons?
no, that's Rachel.
Rachel, thank you. It was Rachel. And she stole them from her
Mm-hmm.
dad and packed them with her. And I remember her sitting on the chair when her dad Laban was looking
Well,
for those things.
she was in the saddle. She had it hidden under her saddlebag, and she was in
Yes.
her. She
Yes.
was having her monthly, so she was
That's what she
unclean.
said. She lied to keep him from looking there. He can't touch her. I don't think they can touch a woman that's in their
Because
midst. But
it goes back to the blood, the shedding of the blood part of
yeah,
it.
she lied, she stole, and yet still look at, I mean, she
She
was
had
a
a
part of the lineage.
When you think about it, I say poor Jacob. Jacob, he looked at her, he saw her physical beauty, but internally she had a really ugly heart.
Rebellious, yeah. And God punished her with that barrenness for so long. And finally she had her baby finally, and then she died shortly after. But it was Jacob was no peach himself. He was kind of
No,
a turd himself. But
well,
God can take anybody and use them for his purposes.
well, when because this has been the church I've been going to recently. They've been going through Genesis, and we've just talked about how Rebecca, when she was getting ready to deliver Esau and Jacob, God told her, because she was like, apparently they were fighting even in the womb, and God told her, you got two nations fighting against each
Yep.
other, and the younger would
Amazing.
be. And of course, Jacob, when he came out, he was called cheater, meant
Mhm.
deceiver, cheater. And then when he contended with God, that's the reason why God, he had to go through a lot, because he was cheated too, with Laban. Laban
Yeah.
was a scoundrel too.
I think
But,
God kind of got even with him for some of his stuff that he pulled on other people when Laban did that to him. He served 21 years for one woman.
right. And then, and then he wrestled with God. He wrestled with Jesus, and he said that, and that's when but he still had to go through it. Interesting thing about it is, Even though God said, okay, your name is going to be Israel, he didn't, in the Bible, his name didn't change to Israel right away. He still had some growing to do. And so he still had some sifting to do. But I, there's just, I mean, I really enjoyed doing my Bible study. I told my grandson, asked me what would be my dream job. It's like, I wish there was a way I could do my Bible study every single day. You know, if I just,
Yeah, maybe you can do a 5 minute thing,
oh,
that'd be if you could pop out a 5 minute thing, say this is my 5 minute blah blah blah.
I finally get looked at YouTube. YouTube, I don't know. Looks like I'm starting to get a little bit of traction. Of course, I don't really know, but because I saw someone make a comment about it's been about a month ago, and I don't know when they actually saw it. That's the thing. That's the thing about YouTube. I don't know when they actually saw it, and I don't know when they actually made the comment. But the the video I did was about a month ago, and they made the comment, your intro's too long. I said, well, and I responded. I said, thank you for your response or your comment, but I do that to get to give people time to come and find me, and two, I want people to understand why I started it, and I think it's in time. And sometimes all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I'll just start going on this rabbit hole trail or whatever, and
Happens, yeah.
and I just, I know my prayers are a little long, but it just,
Well, Deb, I think now after what happened with Charlie Kirk, a lot of people appreciate longer prayers. I got to put up the share real quick and show something here.
sure.
It's not really a share. I don't want to share it. I want to. Oh, okay. Here we go. Video. Is it going to show my video?
Oh, it's not yet.
Hang on. I don't want avatar. There. Let me do a video setting. It's weird. It's not letting me use my camera. Hang on. I don't want a virtual background. What on earth? Undone. Oh, there we go. I guess I have to. There you go. This is the Muslim hat, my dear. Tell me I'm a liar. When I saw one, I thought, oh my God, guess who made this? A little Muslim from back east. Where is it? Saginaw? The Saginaw lady. Yes, she made these. She gave these out. I looked it up. It's Cafe? It's a weird name, but yeah. I realized when I started looking at it, it's like, what a weird hat. I like the color. It's the only reason I picked this one, but I've never worn it. But then I looked it up, and it's like, no wonder. This is what the Muslims wear. Because I saw somebody wearing one. I thought, oh, wait a minute. That looks just like that hat. So if you want to call me a liar again, Adramatic, you made this. I didn't make this. You made this. My little Muslim friend. Anyway, that's what I wanted to show, because apparently she's lying about it over in the other chat. And I just thought, well, if I can prove a lie is a lie, then I do it, because people build lots of stuff on lies, and she's lied before. Oh, that's right. You're a urologist. I forgot about that. Dynamex. He told Dynamex you were a urologist. Ort. Anyway, I just wanted to show that because apparently he's obsessed with me or something. I don't know. I take up space in her head. So it's a saggy cap. Yes, it's a saggy cap. It's not a caftan. It's like a KAF. Kafi? Is it KAFI? I looked it up. I looked it up, and you can buy them on Etsy. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if she doesn't sell them on there, but yeah. So you got this Islam issue. That's the way she rolls. So anyway, I am going to pop out of here, and that was a good talk. I appreciated that. That was very interesting. But I think you should do a 5 minute thing. Do if you have time, and you can pull up 5 minutes, or a 3 minute thing. Just a 3 minute quick study. Blah 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 blah. Leave them with a verse, and off you go.
There's no way. I really don't think I can do that. That's the thing.
Oh, kufi. It's a kufi.
But you know what? But the thing is by me doing that, it just, and especially with using the commentary definitely helps. Trying to understand but it's just like start from the beginning. If you start from the, I guess it is dependent on your maturity because in your walk. Because I know I've been since I was 8, and although if I were to, I guess you could say I was reborn around 2004, 2005, because that is
Nice.
probably when God really, I, I started to, when, it's funny how we always, when you find God in the chaos and trying to find God, I mean, he had shown me, he'd shown up at different times, but for some reason, the 2004, 2005, that period when I lost everything,
Oh, that's right.
that really, what they, and you hear that people says when you lose everything, that's when you find God. And I was like, wow, never understood that until it happened to me. But yeah,
Well,
God just,
yeah, God gets people's attention in different ways too. It could be a death in the family. It might be something good to get somebody. You never know how he knows each of us and what is going to be the most effective for each person. And he does, it's sometimes it's very difficult. I mean, we don't grow without difficult times, unfortunately. I wish it wasn't like that, but it seems like that's when we grow.
yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to check out of here, Deb. Thanks for the great conversation. I'm going to tell everybody good night. Much love to you all. And thank you for being here. And I hope you have a good rest of your night, Deb. See you next Wednesday, God
Yeah.
willing. Either here or in
See,
heaven. We'll see.
well, we'll see. Hopefully some. Let's see. Oh yeah, next Wednesday is October 1st. Ooh. Oh, and
It's my niece's birthday.
and we just got done with Rosh Hashanah. Yom Kippur is next week too,
Yep.
which is the Day of Atonement. And
Yep.
so actually, Rosh Hashanah, which is the New Year, is the Jewish New Year, kind of makes me hope and maybe wonder if we're not going to see some really interesting things in the next week. Because remember, I think some of the things that are happening it's to counteract the Booger Faces calendar, and they're doing stuff on the Hebrew calendar. So,
Could be. Yeah, we'll see. That should be an interest. It's always built up to things during this time. So anyway, I'm out of here. You guys have a great rest of your night. Good night, Deb. God bless.
bye. Good
Bye.
evening, good night, good morning, wherever you are. This is on a Wing and a Prayer, saying on Thursday mornings from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. Eastern, so adjust for your time zone. And then Saturday evenings from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern, again, adjust for your time zone. And where do we go? Let me go ahead. I'm going to do my show opener. Hopefully it'll work. And then I'll be back. So give me a 1. Hey, let me know if you're going to stick around for the next few hours. And and I'll put out links. And if somebody, once I put out my links, if you would please go ahead and just spread it to X, DLive, and well, I've got DLive, never mind. DLive, but X, YouTube, and and so I get slap happy, right? So y'all remember, I get slap happy when it's this early in the morning or late at night, wherever you're at. So, all right, I'm gonna put on my show opener, and for some reason my charger on my phone is not sticking. It's crazy. And But I have a lot to share. I'm going to have to go back and find it. All right. Okay, so I guess I don't see any ones out there, so I guess I'd be talking to myself. Okay, but then again, we have what? How many more? We got other platforms, so I just can't interact with you guys. I'm so sorry for that. So I will be right back after these messages. Give me a moment. And I'm putting my PayPal out there, so if you feel that, if you can, if you can't. Hey, rock and roll, I see you out there. Yay, rock and roll. We're gonna rock. We're gonna roll. We're gonna roll with the flow. Okay. Let's get this out. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna have to. Did I get caught? Okay. Screen sharing has put. Oh, man. Alright. Let me see if I can do that again. As it started. Hey, Pig Dizzle. Okay. Alright, let me. Alright, let's try this again, and I'll be right back.
Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. Therefore, take up the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. Stand therefore, having girded your waist with truth, having put on the breastplate of righteousness, having shod your feet with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, with which you will be able to quench all of the fiery darts of the wicked one. And take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, being watchful to this end with all the perseverance and supplication for all the saints, and for me, that utterance may be given to me, that I may open my mouth boldly to make known the mystery of the gospel, for which I am an ambassador in chains, and willfully so, that in it I may speak boldly as I ought to speak. Amen.
Father God, I ask now for an impartation of your Holy Spirit. May the fullness of the Spirit of Jesus rest upon President Trump, that he be anointed with wisdom and understanding, with your counsel and might, with knowledge and fear of the Lord. And accordingly, may President Trump not judge by what he sees with his eyes, or decide by what he hears with his ears, or lean on his own understanding, but may he recognize your prompting and move according to your guidance. I ask that you give the President supernatural discernment to know who is trustworthy and who is not. Bring into the light all deception and intrigue. Expose and reverse the plans of those who would harm President Trump and this nation. In the name of Jesus, I break off all voices and influence that do not come from you, Father God. May your truth and peace surround and reign in the White House. God, you have raised up President Trump to govern at a time when there is a resurgence of oppression. Only you, Lord Jesus Christ, can anoint him to have victories over strongholds and to establish justice for the needy. Give him strength and courage to persevere in the constant battle that surrounds him, and refresh him. Father God, I see that you have such a tender heart for President Trump. Draw him close to you. I ask now for an impartation of hunger for you, so that he may love you with all his heart, soul, mind, and strength, and delight in knowing you. And if he came and whisper your name, may he go forward shouting your name. In Jesus' name, in the name of my King, I bless you.
Okay, turn that down a little bit. I am. Alright, so let me need to take that down. And just, how is everybody? I gotta get my stuff in order. Oh boy, I tell you what, for September, I don't know. September seems to be just a month that's just been dragging on. I don't know if it feels the same way with ya. Good morning, Heidi. But man, it just feels like, to me, it is just. And I think what I'm going to try to do, I'm going to go ahead. I can't. Since I can't really do any, I want to at least do 30 minutes, so I'm going to open up D-Live. It's going to take me a little bit, not D-Live, sorry. I'm going to open up Rumble. It's going to take me a little bit of time to get that going so that we can, because I do want to do a follow-up. I want to do the reason why I can't do Rumble, already have it pre-ready for me, is because if I do, then everything just goes wonky. Wonka, wonka, wonka. So, I'm slowly, sometimes I think I'm just being suppressed from some of these platforms. I know that, so, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it works. But, so if you don't mind giving me, we got two more hours to go, so. Oops. Alright. So I've been talking about, let me get it. Alright. Get it up. And if anybody wants to join me in Rumble, you're more than welcome. So, and I'm going to, because I'm going to go ahead and do Twitch and, I can't believe I still have Twitch. Uh-oh, whoops. Well, what do you make of that? There we go. Alright, I'm going to do, if you go to my On the Wing in a Prayer, because that's where I have my string, and let's see. Okay. Thank you guys for being patient with me. Let's see. How about, I don't know. Not sure what to title this thing. I guess technically since we're on the 25th. Alright. Podcast. Alright, let's do this. Let's do that. No, let's do this. Instead of doing that, there we go. Alright. Alright, let's see if I can make my microphone. Alright, so I am going live on Rumble, YouTube, and Twitch. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And howdy, and Rumble, and Twitch, and YouTube. How are you guys? Alright, this is On a Wing and Prayer. This is Step 65. Whoops. On Patriots Soapbox, seen Thursday mornings from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. Eastern. And then from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Saturday evenings. Again, just for your time zone. Alright, so I like to interact with people. That's what makes it fun. I mean, you guys come into chat so you can chat, but I like to interact with people too. So we're going to, oh, my nose itches. My first order of business once I get this going is, let's see, no chatters yet, but alright. I went to, okay. So if you are in the Texas, if you are in the Killeen area, let's see, hopefully this will allow me to share my screen. Alright, So, if you are in YouTube, all right. Okay. Oops. Hold on. There we go. Yay! All right. Rumble, YouTube. If you are in the Texas area, if you are in the Killeen area, in the Fort Hood area, we have an unaccompanied veteran burial, Mr. One Edward Franklin Taylor. It will be Wednesday, October 1st, 2025, at 11 a.m. sharp, Central Texas State Veterans Cemetery, 11463 Fort Hood Street, Killeen, Texas, 76542. So if you can make it, or if you can't make it, and you know of anybody in that area, go ahead and please. And it looks like we got someone looking in Twitch maybe, but if you can make it, or if you know somebody in that area who can make it, we do not leave our veterans behind. We do not leave a man behind. So again, unaccompanied veteran burial. Oh, and I forgot, he is United States Army. So one Mr. Edward Franklin Taylor, United States Army, October 1st, 2025, 11 a.m. sharp, Central Texas State Cemetery, 11463 Fort Hood Street, Killeen, Texas, 76542. So if you can make it, that's great. I'm going to stop my share here, stop my share on Rumble. All right. So, and I'm probably wondering why. I mean, by the way, if any of you have a veteran, or if you know somebody, if you have anything to, let's see, where'd it go? If you know of anybody, I've got to find this real quick. If you know of anybody, if you know an unaccompanied in your not put more in there than that. I don't know how to put it. Oh, here we go. But if you know of somebody and you want to get it out there, I would be more than happy to. Hey, Jesse, thank you for the ice cream. I'd be more than happy to put it out there. If you know somebody who is a veteran or unaccompanied veteran, happy to add. All right, let's see. All right. So what I have determined, it's better if I just go ahead and do Zoom on two separate. Okay, so for the, let me remove that so in Zoom you can see that. Does anybody remember the Fort Hood shooting back in 2009? I was actually working in Texas at the time. I was working for the state. And I remember my sister and my brother-in-law and her family, they were living in Fort Hood at the time of that happened. And my sister told me that they spent, I don't know how much money they spent when this guy, for his trial, they had like 4 helicopters 3 of them were decoy helicopters because they were afraid that people were going to come out. So I don't know how much money that they were spent for that. But anyway, Pentagon seeks Trump approval for first U.S. military execution in 60 years following Fort Hood mass shooting. So Nidal Hassan killed 13 people in the 2009 Fort Hood shooting and has exhausted all appeals. So this is what, 26 years later? Yeah, and my brother-in-law at the time, it was really, talking about God having his hand on him. I wonder when that happened. Fort Stewart. When you know it, there's an article about the Fort Hood shooting that took place in 2009, and then you have a active shooter in Fort Stewart in Georgia. Anyway, the Pentagon is preparing to ask President Donald Trump to authorize the execution of Nidal Hassan. I think, you know what? Remember we've been talking about what is the punishment for treason. What if he's the first? What if he would be the first public one? So they're authorizing the first execution of Nidal Hassan, the former Army major convicted of carrying out the 2009 mass shooting at Fort Hood in Texas. A senior Department of Defense official, it's Department of War now, it's not Department of Defense anymore. Official told the Daily Caller News Foundation. Let's see, when did this come out? Okay, this came out, This came out on Wednesday, which technically was yesterday, 6:43 p.m. If approved, it would be the first U.S. military execution in more than 6 decades. Hassan, a former Army psychiatrist, here you go. Here's another example of, drugs, right? He's a psychiatrist, which means he can, psychiatrist can prescribe medicine, right? Killed 13 people and wounded 32 others in the attack. Hassan entered Fort Hood's Soldier Readiness Center armed with a semi-automatic pistol and opened fire on fellow service members preparing for deployment. That was a really weird year because I can remember too, that was when the guy from who took his plane and ran into the IRS building too on research. So court throws out plea deal for 9/11 master. Oh, this is another one too that might be. So during his subsequent trial, Hassan admitted to the shooting and claimed it was necessary to protect the Islamic Empire from American forces. Anybody remember that narrative from way back when? And yet we still have these people coming into our country. The Pentagon had categorized the massacre as an act of workplace violence. Well, who was in the Pentagon in 2009? Anybody remember? That would have been under Obama's first term. And I use that loosely. A decision that drew sharp criticism from lawmakers, victims' families, and national security experts. They argued it obscured the ideological and terrorist motivations behind the attack. So there you go. I mean, we have so in 2013, a military jury convicted Hassan and sentenced him to death. And like I said, they told my sister. My sister was, I mean, there were people around there that were mad because of how they did that. Because, like I said, they spent money on like 3 helicopters. He has been held on death row at the U.S. Disciplinary Barracks in Fort Leavenworth, Kansas ever since. After years of appeals, thank goodness that they never went far, Hassan's final legal challenge was rejected in April 2025, clearing the way for execution. I am 100% committed to ensuring the death penalty is carried out for Nadav Hassan, Department of War Secretary Pete Hegseth told Fox News Digital. This savage terrorist deserves the harshest lawful punishment for his 2009 mass shooting in Fort Worth. The victims and survivors deserve justice without delays. Hassan was one of 4 prisoners facing death penalty under military jurisdiction. I wonder, have they officially renamed Fort Hood back? The Army Secretary has already recommended execution, and the Department of War is advancing the request. Hassan, born in Arlington, Virginia in 1970 to Palestinian immigrant parents, served nearly 20 years in the Army before reportedly embracing radical Islamic beliefs. By the time he was stationed at Fort Hood in 2009, he had become outspoken in his opposition to the U.S. military campaigns in Iraq and Afghanistan, justifying suicide bombings as a legitimate act of war. I wish I didn't have all the... Is that it? I guess that's it. I wish I didn't have all the ads, but anyway, so that... So, I mean, see, the stuff has been slowly penetrating our... Yeah, like I said, I lived like only an hour and a half away. I wasn't very far. My sister's family was there. Alright, so... But I wonder if this will be the first of many, and if it will be televised. Yeah, which I was going to ask, one thing I wanted to ask is, I know people have used the word execution in relationship to what happened to Charlie Kirk, so I wonder if again, if that's going to take place. Let's see if this comes back up. No, it's not going to work. Alright. Stop share. Alright. Alright. Oops. No. Alright. Take that down. Alright. It doesn't look like it's going. I lost my folder. Okay, here we go. This is going to be one. Okay, court throws out plea deal for 911 mastermind. Okay, stop doing that. So, court throws out plea deal for 911 mastermind Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and two other terrorists. Federal Appeals Court upholds Defense Secretary authority to reject agreement that would have spared Khalid Sheikh Mohammed from death penalty. Oh, this is actually from July, so How did we miss that? What was going on in July? Let's see, we had the Mystic Camp, the flooding there. That's the thing that comes to mind. Because that was right before the. That was around 4th of July, so that would have been a week prior to this. So, a divided federal appeals court in Washington, D.C. on Friday. Remember, this is in July. Tossed out an agreement that would have allowed 9/11 terrorist mastermind or 9/11 terrorist mastermind Khalid Sheikh Mohammed to plead guilty to another failed effort to end a years-long legal saga surrounding the military prosecution of men held at Guantanamo Bay. The 2-1 D.C. Circuit Appeals Court decision upheld then Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin's decision to undo the plea deal approved by military lawyers and senior Pentagon staff. The deal would have carried life without parole sentences for Muhammad and 2 co-defendants, potentially taking capital punishment off the table. And of course, now he says attempted deportation for this man may be unconstitutional. So Muhammad, a Pakistani national, is accused of spearheading the 9/11 attacks on the World Trade Center, Pentagon, and another commercial jetliner that crashed in Pennsylvania. Austin said a decision on whether to take the death penalty off the table could only be made by the tech sentence. However, legal concerns stem from whether the original plea deal was legally binding and whether Austin waited too long to get it dismissed. Oh, how wonderful. Now we got another more. Boasberg is at it again, too. Man, I could just stay on this page, I think, for all night at this point. The court found Austin indisputably had legal authority to withdraw from the agreements because the promises made in the deal had not yet been fulfilled and the government had no adequate alternative remedies. Since the appeals court put this agreement on hold, the defendants were not sentenced Friday as previously scheduled, marking a temporary victory for the Biden administration. So Judges Patricia Millett and Naomi Rao of the majority opinion noted the government adequately explained that Secretary Austin delayed action to avoid an unlawful influence challenge, waiting to see what type of agreement, if any, would result from the negotiations, and only then deciding whether intervention was necessary. Citing previous unlawful influence allegations against various government officials, including the Secretary of Defense, Millett and Rao found Austin was reasonable to withdraw from the agreements to avoid additional litigation. Having properly assumed the convening authority, the Secretary determined that the families and the American public deserved the opportunity to see military commission trials carried out, the judge wrote. Oh, here, y'all get this? And again, having properly assumed the convening authority, the Secretary determined that the families and the American public deserve the opportunity to see military commission trials carried out, the judges wrote. The Secretary acted within the bounds of his legal authority, and we declined to second-guess his judgment. So, hey, Roses Starbright. So what are they saying? Does this mean that we're going to see, I mean, is this a prophetic? Is this like a foreshadowing? Maybe we're going to see these trials, you know. I mean, we've been told this. I mean, this is stuff that we've basically been told, that tribunal or, you know, prophetic words. People have talked about military tribunals from the beginning, that we're going to have military tribunals. I mean, I think people have been, I don't know, it started somewhere. Pretty sure I know where. And we just, you know, people, we've been waiting for these, right? The secretary acted within the bounds of his legal authority, and we declined to second guess his judgment. Okay, and just to pause for a second, here's the headline. Anti-Israel ringleader Mohammed Khalil's free speech lawsuit against U.S. government must be heard. Like I said, I almost feel like I could just keep going, and I mean, look at all these headlines. So Judge Robert L. Wilkins, in dissent, argued that siding with the government would be an overreach. The court's holding is stunning, Wilkins wrote. Not only does the majority believe that respondents, which are prosecutors who negotiated the plea deal, did not begin performance, but it holds that the government established a clear and indisputable right to a writ of mandamus or prohibition. It is possible for me to conclude that the government has shown it is clearly and indisputably entitled to relief, he continued. The demanding mandamus standard is even further out of the government's reach when the government cannot cite binding on-point precedent in support of its claims, and we are constrained to reviewing for clear error both the military judge's finding that the PTAs encompass, which would be the encompass the relevant promises of his application of the withdrawal regulation. But even on the de novo review of those findings, the government has not met its burden. So there you go. I know things are happening. This federal judge says attempted deportation of anti-Israel ringleader Mohammed Khalil may be unconstitutional. How is it unconstitutional? I mean, if they come here to attack the United States, that makes them enemies of the United States. They don't need to be here. They need to, if they are a U.S. citizen, then they need to lose their citizenship. Remember the what was it? What's she called? What was her title? The Jihad Bride that was radicalized. She even went and had a baby with one of the leaders, and then all of a sudden she wanted to come back. It's like, great. I mean, you need to be under strict psychiatric care before we let you back in. Alright. So I'm going to take the share down for a second. Let me take the share down here. For a second. So if anybody wants to draw. I'm going to put out my Rumble, so if anybody wants to join me in Rumble so I can interact with you on Rumble, you can. Or YouTube. I'm going live on YouTube too. patience. Okay, where's my chat? I'm not sure my thing is gone. Here is my chat. Now I don't know. I don't know if you can, I'm assuming you can get, because I have it under my wing and prayer. I'm assuming you can get it from there. Then I'm going to go to oops. Anybody wants to put it in Vaughn and X, Northern Town. Wow. Can you believe it's already? Oh, wow. It's almost, we got 20 minutes. No, 10 minutes. That's quick. That was a quick hour. I can't believe it. That was a quick hour. And I didn't even get to half of what I wanted to do. So, alrighty. So, again, if you, I know, you'll probably get tired of hearing, you know, help me, but I don't normally do it. I don't do it. I mean, it's not easy. Okay. All right, let me. And I just lost like 8 people on Rumble, just like that. Okay. Let me get back to here. Okay. Oops. Y'all get tired of talking? It's like it's so quiet up there. Oh wow. This is what happened. This is what I do when I'm, doing my Bible study. I basically talk to myself. Okay. So I did. Okay. So I want to go back. And this I went to thank. Let's see. Hold on. I know. Okay. I want to thank Sword of Truth. I just want to say also that thank you for giving me this update. I did not know. And Erin did, if you're out there on X, Erin, 80s Erin did. She did show me the link you gave, but since it had a paywall, I had to find an alternative to the, had to find an alternative to the, I found an alternative to it. I actually went to the source, so I kind of like to do that whenever I can. Let's see. At least I got maybe just a little bit too big. You can't see the screen. So I went to the source. I went to U.S. Attorney's Office, District of Massachusetts. So we've been talking about this. I've been talking about the people in these nonprofits that are being arrested, and they are they've been arrested in this Gannon Taylor that has been arrested. She actually went through and she pled guilty. So this was actually Monday the 22nd. So the last article I read came out around the 12th. Or no, she was supposed to go ahead and plead guilty on the Friday the 12th, right? And apparently they delayed it until now. So Monica Gant, did I lose it? Oh gosh, is it just me? Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah. So the Monica Cannon Grant diverted thousands of donated to nonprofit to pay for personal expenses, defrauded Boston COVID-19 or C-19 relief Fund, Boston Office of Housing Stability, and Suffolk County District Attorney's Office, among others. So this is out of Boston. The founder and former chief executive officer of the local nonprofit Violence in Boston, or VIB, pleaded guilty today in federal court in Boston to making misrepresentations in order to obtain thousands of dollars in donations to nonprofit Violence in Boston that she then diverted to pay for personal expenses, defrauding the city of Boston out of the COVID-19 relief funds and rental assistance money, defrauding the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office out of community and reinvestment grant funds, filing false tax returns for 2 years, and failing to file tax returns for 2 years. Monica Cannon Grant, 44, of Taunton, pleaded guilty to 18 counts, 3 counts of wire fraud conspiracy, 10 counts of wire fraud, 1 count of mail fraud, and 2 counts each of filing false tax returns and failing to file tax returns. U.S. District Court Judge Angel Kelly scheduled sentencing for January 29th. So here's my question. Why so long? That basically means that she can go wherever she wants to. Doesn't sound like she's being held anywhere. So she can basically run around free. In March of 2023, Cannon Grant was charged along with her co-conspirator and husband Clark Grant in a 27-count superseding indictment. Clark Grant's charges were dismissed in May 2023 due to his death. Remember, I don't know. It seems kind of weird to me that he got in a motorcycle crash. Cannon Grant and Clark Grant had previously been charged in an 18-count indictment in March of 2022. Again, why did it take so long? This is almost, 4.5 years for this to happen, for them to finally get a plea deal going. Wheels of justice running slowly is just, I don't know. Cannon Grant was the founder and CEO of VIB, or was it Violence in Boston, an anti-violence nonprofit formally established in 2017, the stated purpose of which was to reduce violence, raise social awareness, and aid community causes in Greater Boston, among other purposes. Let's see, and here's a quote. Monica and Cannon Grant repeatedly scammed multiple public financial programs and stole money donated by members of the public who believed their donations would aid in reducing violence and promote social awareness. Instead, Cannon Grant used donations to satisfy her own greed while falsely portraying herself as a legitimate nonprofit organizer. She betrayed the trust of everyone who donated and the public who supported her fraudulent charity, said United States Attorney Lee B. Foley. Today's plea demonstrates once again that no one is above the rule of law. Today, just wanted to make sure I don't repeat that. Today's plea agreement underscores our commitment. Okay. Today's guilty plea underscores our commitment to investigating and holding accountable anyone who commits fraud. Ms. Cannon Grant defrauded several state programs and exploited her position in the community to line her own pocket, said Ketty Larco Ward, inspector in charge of the U.S. Postal Inspection Services Boston Division. I need to do a dive into the Postal Inspection Service. This investigation showcases the results that postal inspectors strive to achieve in collaboration with our law enforcement partners. The successful resolution through a plea is a result of the strong investigative work, dedication, and partnership of postal inspectors and the U.S. Attorney's Office. I commend the relentless work and commitment to ensuring justice was achieved by all those involved. Monica Cannon Grant illegally enriched herself as part of a scheme that fraudulently diverted vital taxpayer resources away from those in need of employment insurance benefits during the COVID-19 pandemic. Well, think about some of the other nonprofits. Look at think about some of the churches. I can think of a couple ministries, in quotes, on my quotes, air quotes. I can think of a couple of them that took the PPE money. Anybody remember those? Let's see. So that stated Jonathan R. Maloney, Special Agent in charge of the Northeast Region, U.S. Department of Labor, Office of Inspector General. Protecting the integrity of the unemployment insurance program remains one of our highest priorities, and we will continue to work closely with the U.S. Attorney's Office and our other law enforcement partners to protect the integrity of U.S. Department of Labor programs and operations. I really think that we ought to, instead of looking at the news sources, why don't we just look at the press releases from these attorney offices, the Attorney General's offices. As she admitted at today's plea hearing from 2017 through at least 2020, Cannon Grant represented herself as an uncompensated Violence in Boston, or VIB, director to donors and other charitable institutions, when in reality she and her late husband agreed to utilize their control over VIB accounts and funds to pay for personal expenditures by diverting VIB funds to themselves through cash withdrawals, cash checks, wire transfers into personal bank accounts, and debit purchases. Over the course of the conspiracy, Cannon Grant diverted thousands of dollars in donor money earmarked for VIB for her own personal use. She also applied for or certified the application for grants offered by public and private entities that included materially false representations. For example, Cannon Grant conspired to use VIB to defraud the Boston Resiliency Fund, a charitable fund established by the city of Boston to provide aid to Boston residents during the C-19 pandemic. I call it a panicdemic because that's what it was. What was the narrative? Remember? Anybody remember? They tell everybody you were going to die if you didn't get a shot. People also forget how they con people by remember, oh, we'll give you $1 million if you come and get this shot. Oh, how about a dinner for two for a shot? I mean, they tried to bribe people. After receiving approximately $53,777 in panicdemic relief funds, Cannon Grant withdrew approximately $30,000 in cash from the VIB bank account, made deposits of $5,200 and $1,000 into her personal checking account, and made payments to her personal auto loan and car insurance policy. It's like they couldn't just use a regular salary. That's what I have to do. Cannon Grant did not disclose any of these personal expenses to BRF, which would be Boston Resiliency Fund, and instead falsely reported to BRF that all of its grant funds had been appropriately expended. In addition, Cannon Grant conspired to defraud Boston's Office of Housing Stability by concealing thousands of dollars of household income in order to obtain $12,600 in rental assistance from the city of Boston, instead of truthfully reporting accurate information about the family's earnings and benefits. Cannon Grant and her late husband misrepresented. I'm sorry, guys. Sorry, the weather, the air has been a little bit stuffy. The humidity's been a little bit high the last few days, so it's starting to get to my voice. Cannon Grant and her late husband misrepresented their actual household income to obtain grant relief funds that were intended to aid Boston residents who are facing housing insecurity. They do that. Cannon Grant and her late husband also conspired to defraud the Massachusetts Department of Unemployment Assistance by submitting a fraudulent, I think it's either a fraudulent application or fraudulent applications for pandemic unemployment assistance, and certifying on a weekly basis that they were not working and did not receive over $89 in income during the prior week. Oh my gosh. I mean, whoever look at their employment, I mean, they can tell by because you have to put down your car, basically the worth of your car. You have to do an itemized list on stuff like that to prove that you qualify in the first place. In addition, Cannon Grant filed false tax returns for 2017 and 18 and failed to file returns for 19 and 20, omitting tens of thousands of dollars in incomes that Cannon Grant received in salary from finance in Boston and through work as a consultant. The charges of wire fraud conspiracy, wire fraud, and mail fraud each provide for a sentence of up to 20 years in prison, up to 3 years of supervised release, and a fine up to $250,000. The charge of filing false tax return provides for a sentence of up to 3 years in prison, 1 year of supervised release, and a fine up to $100,000. The charge of failure to file a tax return provides for a sentence of up to 1 year in prison, 1 year of supervised release, and a fine of up to $25,000. Sentences are imposed by a federal district court judge based on the U.S. sentencing guidelines and statutes which govern the determination of a sentence in a criminal case. So, U.S. Attorney Foley, I'm not going to read all the credentials. Let's see. No, but this would be U.S. Postal Inspector General, Inspector Services, I think. Larker Ward, DOL, Department of Labor, Sac Malone, Thomas DeMayo, Acting Special Agent in charge for the Internal Revenue Service, Criminal Investigation, Boston Field Office, Matthew M. Madofri, Special Agent in charge of the U.S. Postal Service Office, Inspector General, and Massachusetts Inspector General Jeffrey Shapiro made the announcement today. Assistant U.S. Attorneys Adam Deach and Dustin Chow of the Public Corruption Unit are prosecuting the case. On May 17, 2021, the Attorney General established the C-19 Fraud Enforcement Task Force to marshal the resources for the Department of Justice in partnership with agencies across government to enhance efforts to combat and prevent pandemic-related fraud. The task force bolsters efforts to investigate and prosecute the most culpable domestic and international criminal actors and assist agencies tasked with administrating relief programs to prevent fraud by, among other methods, augmenting and incorporating existing coordination mechanism, identifying resources and techniques to uncover fraudulent actors and their schemes, and sharing and harnessing information insights gained from prior enforcement efforts. For more information, please to the response to the pandemic, please visit www.justice.gov see coronavirus. And then it's interesting how they're focusing on the virus fraud. So of course we all know that that whole thing was a fraud. Okay, so I'm going to stop that screen share, and let's go to another. And let's see, we talked about, let's see what all I have. I did that one already. Where should I go next? We talked about that. Oh, so in case you missed everything else that was going on today, oops, okay, that's that. So in case you forgot, or just in case you missed this today, excuse me, share. So apparently there was a shooting outside the gate of Nellis Air Force Base today. So gates reopened after man shot by security outside the gate of Nellis Air Force Base. And what first caught my eye on this was the fact that this is one of the headlines saw it was its proximity to Area 51. So why, we know they're trying to pull the whole aliens from outer space routine, Project Bluebeam, that want people to think we're being invaded by aliens. But they're not aliens. They're demonic creatures. And that's what they are. They're to get people to panic. They're trying to get people, So anyway, I hope you can see that to read it. But in case you can't, Las Vegas Metro Police are investigating an incident after shots were fired outside of Nellis Air Force Base. So this is also happening in like you have the ICE facility being shot up, or the van in Dallas. Now you have the Nellis Air Force Base. And I know that for the last couple of weeks, the base where I'm at, they've kind of heightened security. So, when I go through I haven't seen this in a while. Every once in a while they'll have it, but they actually, when you go through the base, they actually have someone, one of the guards is behind a shield. So you kind of get an idea something's up, even if you don't know what it is. Most of the time, you go in and out, you don't really think much of it. It's like, oh. But, I get kind of hypersensitive about stuff because of, what we have learned, or especially what I have learned since 2016 when President Trump took office. He took office in 2017, but since he was elected. According to LVMPD, around 12:30 a.m., that'll be early morning hours. It happened before, before the base opened up normally. Let's see. Oh gosh. Nellis Air Force Base, that's what NAFB, which is Nellis Air Force Base. Security said a person at the gate pointed a gun at them. Security forces shot the suspect in the leg. Police reported a tourniquet was applied and the suspect was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. An update just after 9 a.m. from Nellis Air Force Base said that the main gate and visitor control center had resumed standard operations. The Simons Gate is scheduled to remain open until 9 a.m. to assist with traffic flow, officials says. Officials say there is no threat to the public. This is an ongoing investigation. So I don't know. We don't know. But I just thought that was, I think we are seeing such a overload of information, of news reports out there that we're losing stuff. What is critical? What isn't critical? What is, this is a big deal. I think why did this guy decide to, what is his motivation? Is he a distraction? What's the distraction? Is it just local? You really didn't see much of it. I really didn't see a whole lot of traction anywhere else. It's just, I saw it, but I'm going to stop that share real quick. Wow, can't believe. Man, this has been a fast 3 hours. And Rumble is still going well. That's even more amazing. Let's see. Here's some, here, moving on to California. So anybody else in California sitting out there this morning listening? In case you are. I wonder if it depends on how many people are on, if I have issues because of the fact that, maybe there's not that many people, the airwaves and stuff are on. Let's see. People should be starting to wake up, right? So maybe people start coming on. Just wake up, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, so not only is Newsom, not only do we have to worry about Prop 50, but good old Mr. Newsom. Gosh, anybody who thinks that Newsom would be a good president, they need to research. That's like researching Kamala. So 11 years after a celebrated opening, massive solar plant faces a bleak future in the Mojave Desert. So this is the solar. So this is this actually came out on January 30th. I had to pick this older. It's like they're recycling old news, but I don't remember catching this when it first came out back in January. So what was once the world's largest solar power plant of its type appears headed for closure just 11 years after opening, under pressure from cheaper green energy sources. Remember what President Trump said at the UN yesterday about he keeps calling it Green New Scam, right? So, we got the Green New Scam. Hey, good morning, Vinny. I agree, solar needs to die. Meanwhile, environmentalists continue to blame the Mojave Desert plant for killing thousands of birds and tortoises. Oh, plant as in the solar plant. I'm thinking they're talking about like a cactus plant. Whoops. The Ivanpah solar power plant formally opened in 2016 on roughly 5 square miles of federal land near the California-Nevada border. Imagine that, federal land. So how much are we paying for that solar plant on federal land? Did Newsom get a kickback from that? Though it was hailed at the time as a breakthrough, or was he even governor in 2014? When did he become governor? Yeah, they all do it though. That's the thing. They all push for this stuff. I told you about my struggle on my family farm. That farm's been in the family for what, 5-6 generations now. Because I was 4th generation, and my cousin has her. She's a great grandmother. So, though it was hailed at the time as a breakthrough moment for clean energy, its power has been struggling to compete with cheaper solar technologies. Pacific Gas and Electric said in a statement it had agreed with owners, including... Yo, that's where I've seen that. Oh, I'm going to have to get a picture of that, including NRG Energy Inc. I'm like, I seen the building around here, and that thing looks so run down. It looks like it's been abandoned. So remind me, everybody, when I do go out and do my little well, they're ugly. These solar farms are ugly. They're not. They don't. They're sight for sore eyes. So to terminate its contracts with Ivanpah plant, if approved by regulators, the deal would lead to closing 2 of the plant's 3 units starting in 2026. The contracts were expected to run through 2020 or 39, so you're looking at 25 years. They didn't even make it 15. PG&E determined that ending the agreements at this time will save customers money, the company said in a statement on its website. Southern California Edison, which buys the rest of the power from the 3-unit plant, is in discussions with owners and the U.S. Energy Department regarding a buyout of its Ivanpah contract. I wonder how much that's going to cost the California taxpayers. The plant appears likely to become a high-profile loser in the race to develop new types of clean energy in the era of climate change. Now, we know that's like I said, President Trump already called out UN for that. We need to leave the UN. The Ivanpah plant uses a technology known as solar thermal, or concentrated solar, in which 350,000 computer-controlled mirrors, roughly the size of a garage door, reflect sunlight to boilers atop 459-foot towers. The sun's power is used to heat water in the boilers, tubes, and make steam, which drives turbines to create electricity. NRG said in a statement that the project was successful but unable to compete with rival photovoltaic solar technologies such as rooftop panels, which have much lower capital and operating costs. Initially, the prices were competitive, but advancements over time in photovoltaics and battery storage have led to more efficient, cost-effective, and flexible options for producing reliable, clean energy, and NRG's added. A post on the PG&E website says Ivanpah's technology had worked on a smaller scale in Europe, but over time it could match the power prices of photovoltaic energy. Well, you know what? Guess what? This isn't Europe. We're not Europe. Guess what? It's That's like when they wanted the light rail in Austin, and it's like, okay, light rail. Hey, well, other dude, Philadelphia does it, but guess what? Austin isn't Philadelphia. It's not patterned the same way. The land is not patterned the same way. The land mass isn't patterned the same way. The plant has long been criticized for the environmental trade-offs that came with large-scale energy production in the sensitive desert region. Rays from the plant's mirrors have been blamed for incinerating thousands of birds. Conservation groups tried to stop construction on the site because of threats to tortoises. It's almost like they want to open up the dams in Pottersville because fish. The Ivanpah plant was a financial boondoggle, an environmental disaster, Julia Dowell of the Sierra Club said in an email. Along with killing thousands of birds and tortoises, the project's construction destroyed irreparable pristine desert habitat along with numerous rare plant species, Dowell said. You know, that's the thing. Let's save the planet. Let's recycle. But we gotta have solar. We gotta have solar. We gotta have wind while they're killing the nature, right? No. While the Sierra Club strongly supports innovative clean energy solutions and recognizes the urgent need to transition away from fossil fuels, no, we don't. Ivanpah just demonstrated that not all renewable technologies are created equal. There were other early problems. After its much hyped opening, the plant didn't produce as much electricity expected for a simple reason. The sun wasn't shining as much as expected. Well, guess what? That's what happens when you manipulate the weather, that butterfly effect, right? Yeah, right? With the chemtrails? Oh, I wouldn't be surprised about that, heavens declare. Oh, yeah, and they're wanting to do that in Texas, too. Those roundabouts? Yes, there's a whole push in Texas to do the roundabouts. Those roundabouts, those are crazy. The plant can be a startling sight for drivers heading toward Las Vegas from Southern California along busy Interstate 15 amid miles of rock and scrub. Its vast array of mirrors can create the image of a shimmering lake atop the desert floor, but depending on the angle of the sun and mirrors, it can also be blinding. It used to be called a mirage. I remember when we used to travel down the road and it looked like water on the road and it was a mirage. If the PG&E agreement is approved, our NRG said the units will be decommissioned, providing an opportunity for the site to potentially be repurposed for renewable photovoltaic, I can't pronounce that, energy production. The company did not respond to questions about the projected cost of what would become of the equipment at the site. There you have it. We got Prop 50. They want to unmask ICE. They want to, California just got some really major issues. And what's sad is the people that buy into all this stuff. I don't understand. I don't understand how I know that last few days we've had some really big foggy weather, so I don't have too much more to do. And then Did that one, we did that one. Okay, so we're gonna kind of shift gears a little bit. I found this and I thought this was, guys, if we thought we had it bad here, it's getting bad. Think about this guy, this poor guy here. This is what's coming to us. It's on the horizon if we don't wake up. Alright. So for those of you, if you just joined, this is on a wing and a prayer. This is Deb 65. And I am live also on YouTube, Twitch, and Rumble. So I am doing my own personal. Okay. And so far, I guess it's just I can't do videos because trying to do videos through what. So here is a Florida retiree is banned from leaving Saudi Arabia until 2026 over social media posts about Crown Prince. So this poor man, he's a retiree. And he's from Florida. Let me try to get this up. So imagine this. Imagine if it was the other way around. I think we would want to get rid of people. So a Florida retiree has been convicted of cyber crimes and blocked from leaving Saudi Arabia until next year over social media posts critical of the kingdom's crown prince, according to the man's son. So, I kind of sort of understand Saudi Arabia's point of view. You don't go to another country and, you don't bash. If you go, So Saad al-Mahdi, 75, was found guilty of distributing online content that undermines public order, according to a September 14th ruling provided by his son. So I wonder if he's really a U.S. citizen or is he a Saudi citizen that's been living in Florida. The conviction, which has not been previously reported, carries a 3-year sentence, but spares al-Mahdi additional prison time after he spent more than a year behind bars following his arrest in 2021. So he has been in prison since 2021. That's all I got? I thought I had more than that. I may have to look into that more. I'm not going to do it live. I wonder what there's got to be more to this than that. Oh, let's see. Here we go. So instead, it blocks al-Mahdi from leaving the kingdom until March. The Saudi government, which did not respond to requests for comment, doesn't recognize dual citizenship and regularly rejects criticism of its actions, saying they are part of a multi-year crackdown on corruption, terrorism, and other security threats. The ruling comes after Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman gave a lavish welcome to President Donald Trump during a May trip to Saudi Arabia, a key strategic partner of the United States. It built on efforts to re-engage with the kingdom after the Crown Prince's reputation was badly damaged by a U.S. intelligence determination that he had likely ordered the 2018 killing, Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi. Prince Mohammed denies his involvement. So here we go. Here's the crux of the matter. Al-Mahdi's son, Ibrahim Al-Mahdi, says he believes the sentence is aimed at prompting his family and those of a handful of other American citizens facing similar exit bans to stay silent and not get in the way of the Crown Prince's diplomatic comeback. Well, come on. Going to another country, I mean, it's bad enough when you do it here, you do your own country. I mean, this is the reason why United States has freedom of expression, freedom of speech, is because so you don't get. But if you're going to go to another country, that is just silly. Yeah, I know. It was a fun trip, and it kind of helped me, especially if you had to go to the bathroom, and you kind of think, oh, we're getting closer. It kind of took my mind off of it, right? Um, but anyway, you don't go to another country and bash the president. It's bad enough when the Dixie Chicks did it. They went to a different country and then started bashing the United States. That was bad enough, but come on. The government keeps changing its mind and there's no consequences every time he says in an interview. If you can get your dad out, you probably shouldn't say anything either, really. I mean, think about it. Whether you agree with it or not, it's probably not a wise idea. A retired project manager who immigrated to the U.S. in the 1970s, the elder Al-Mahdi was arrested upon his arrival in Saudi Arabia. I can't talk. In Saudi Arabia for what was supposed to be a short trip to see family. Officials confronted him with tweets he had posted over the past several years, including one about Khashoggi's killing and another on the Crown Prince's consolidation of power. Okay, I stand corrected. I can admit when I'm wrong. So apparently they were monitoring his tweets. His family says. Al-Mahdi was quickly sentenced to more than 19 years in prison on terrorism-related charges stemming from these tweets. Saudi Arabia freed him after more than a year and dropped the terrorism charges, but imposed an exit ban that keeps him from returning to his home in in Boca Raton near Miami. The Associated Press reported in January that Saudi officials were pressuring the elder Al-Mahdi to renounce his American citizenship. That almost sounds like what happened with the Pastor Brunson in Turkey. Trump, who has made freeing Americans held by a foreign adversaries a top priority, has remained mostly silent. When asked by a reporter in May about the case, he said he didn't know about it but promised to take a look. A few weeks later, one of his national security aides, Sebastian Gorka, met with the younger Al-Mahdi at the White House. I mean, remember, there's gatekeepers with President Trump. He doesn't always get everything. The U.S. State Department said it is monitoring the elder Al-Mahdi's case, providing him with appropriate consular services, and has been in contact with his family, but it declined to provide further comment, citing privacy considerations. The White House didn't respond to a request for comment. Yeah, because they probably would mess things up by releasing information that could damage any kind of negotiations. Trump, since returning to the White House, has intensified an effort started during the Biden administration to bury any criticism of the Saudi royals over allegations of their involvement with Khashoggi's killing inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul. I'll get it. During his visit to Riyadh in May, Trump described Prince Mohammed as an incredible man, my friend. You know what? He always says that before he lowers the boom on somebody. Trump's family has extensive business dealings with the world's top oil exporter, which have only deepened since voters returned him to the White House. So this is more about this whole article is more about President Trump and Saudi Arabia than it is about the gentleman that's actually in jail. Go figure. So in April, the Trump organization struck a deal with a developer close to the Saudi royal family, London-based Dar Global, to build a Trump-branded beachside villa and 18-hole golf course in neighboring Qatar. The Trump organization is also partnering with the... He has nothing to do with the Trump organization while he is in office. We already established that through his first term. The Trump organization also is partnering with a firm in a luxury high-rise apartment building with the coastal city of Jeddah, a project that was announced last December. The private equity firm, controlled by Trump's son-in-law and former White House advisor Jared Kushner, received a $2 billion investment from the sovereign wealth fund controlled by the Crown Prince. Abdullah Alaoud, a senior director at the Middle East Democracy Center, a Washington-based human rights group, is tracking cases of Americans under exit bans in Saudi Arabia. He said he knew of 4 others, an American citizen, 2 dual U.S. Saudi nationals, and a U.S. green card holder facing a similar plight as al-Mahdi's. Saudi Arabia is the largest oil producer in the Middle East. It's also a key player in regional conflicts involving Iran and Yemen, as well as the chief prize. And this is probably the real reason President Trump is even dealing with them, is Iran and Yemen, as well as the chief prize in U.S. efforts to get Arab states to normalize relations under Israel under the Abraham Accords, a hallmark foreign policy achievement during Trump's first term. So, the fact dual citizenship should not be a thing. You're either in this country, you're a legal citizen, or you're not, or you are so shouldn't have anything to do with it. Alright, so let me, I think, alright, so this was given to me by Clifford earlier, and Clifford, if you're still out there, I'm sorry I didn't get to it sooner. I was going to play it, but I had there were others that. So, of course, we all know about President Trump. You know, because Chris and I were talking about terrorists and everything. So this was Monday, September 22nd. And see, designating Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization. Today, President Trump signed an order to designate Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization. It's like It's about time. The order notes that Antifa is a militarist, anarchist enterprise that calls for the overthrow of the U.S. government, law enforcement authorities, and our system of law using illegal means, including violence and terrorism, to accomplish these goals. Well, the fact that they're funded by somebody, we know that they are not organic. The order directs the federal government to investigate, disrupt, dismantle all illegal operation conducted by Antifa or any person claiming to act on behalf of Antifa. It also calls for investigating, disrupting, and dismantling the funding sources behind such operations. Dismantling Antifa's use for political violence. Antifa engages in coordinated efforts to obstruct enforcement of federal laws with the goal of achieving policy objectives by coercion and intimidation. This is domestic terrorism. Antifa has engaged in armed standoff with law enforcement, organized riots, violently assaulting ICE and other law enforcement officers, and engages in routine doxing of political figures and activists, threatening public safety. ICE officers are now facing a 1,000% increase in assaults against them. An Antifa affiliated group in Portland, Oregon, doxed ICE officers, publishing their names, pictures, and personal addresses online. A journalist was violently assaulted by Antifa protesters while reporting on a protest in Portland. Using pepper spray, baseball bats, and tasers, Antifa members violently attacked Trump supporters during a Patriot march in Pacific Beach, California. The group recruits and radicalizes young Americans to engage in this violence and works to conceal identities of members and funding sources, frustrating law enforcement efforts. Antifa's efforts to advance political violence and suppress lawful political speech must be stopped. So, restoring law and order, every American deserves to be safe, and President Trump is dedicated to restoring law and order in communities across the United States. This is a quote from President Trump. "I am pleased to inform our many U.S. patriots that I am designating Antifa, a sick, dangerous, radical left disaster, as a major terrorist organization. I will also be strongly recommending that those funding Antifa be thoroughly investigated in accordance with the highest legal standards and practices." We'll start with Soros, George and Alex Soros, right? Yeah, the thing is I bet a lot of this stuff has already been taken care of. It's just the information. We're on an information mission. So you're too late. She's gone. So anyway, President Trump has been relentless in his efforts to combat terrorism, from designating cartels as foreign terrorist organizations to ordering military strikes on narco-terrorists. President Trump has deployed federal resources to stop violence in our cities, including sending the National Guard to Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., and Memphis. I wonder what's the next city. I know they keep saying, come to Chicago. All right, I am going to, so if you are on Rumble, Twitch, or YouTube, on my channel there, I want to say thank you for sticking around, and I'm thankful that Rumble actually worked tonight. Doesn't always happen. And so, anyway, I'm going to take down my Rumble studio, so thank you. And I'll see you next time when I get a chance to do my Bible study because I'm getting ready to play some video. Anyway, y'all have a good night on Rumble and Twitch and YouTube. And we'll see you later. Anyway, go in peace, go in shalom, go with God. Wow. Okay. There goes Rumble, Twitch. So, I have this little nugget here. I can't remember why I did this, but I have this little nugget here I want to play. Oh, this, yes. Let me see, can I? This is what I wanted to do. No. Where'd it go? Okay, hold on. Alright, okay. So I don't know if y'all caught this. This is not very long, but I want to show it. This is what a president looks like. Alright, that was kind of less exciting as I thought it would be. When I saw it, the Marine Corps silent platoon was practicing at the White House, and what President Trump did is he invited them in and he gave them the presidential challenge coin. And if you're military, I personally don't know how it works. I know my grandson, they do it for kids too, the challenge coin. So what they do is, it basically is the highest rank, the commander-in-chief. So these young men got So that was the reason why I wanted to play it. I thought it was going to have the whole thing, but it didn't, alas. So, see, I got 4 minutes before it's time. I do not know who's going to relieve me, but I can, as always, everybody. I'm I'm gonna go out with at least one song, and then. But anyway, for those that stuck around all night, it's been a quiet night, Chucky. I mean, no, I'm getting ready to speak from the soul room, but for you guys out there, thank you for sticking around and everything. So let me get my. Ooh, I can now get PSB. Now what I need to do is I gotta figure out how to use my. I need to figure out how to. Oh my goodness. I got it. Oh, I got to figure out how to get back into YouTube myself, or get connected. Either change my. I need to change my. How to get into YouTube or something. Anyhow. I'm sorry, you're stuffy Canadian bacon. Alright, let's see. What can we play tonight? Or what can I go out with in a bang? Yeah, and we are back. If you're just joining us, we are back on Patriots Soapbox is back on YouTube. And one of the things, we'll see how we can stay, but I know I haven't had that many problems on YouTube because even when I do my live shows, I haven't gotten any strikes from YouTube. And I mean, I'll get this, I'll get something like, this may not be able to be played in other countries, but it's not considered a strike. So I think I'm gonna play this one, and even my military, because it's like, oh, I don't know if it's the song itself or the tune or what, but it'll be like check your post, or you could change it. It gives me an option to change it. So I could either edit it out, or I could change the thing. All right. So it is now 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock my time. I am going to. All right, everybody. Here we go. I haven't had this one. I finally found this out. This is one of my favorite songs.
Well, he's up every morning at the crack of dawn, all day in the clothes that he puts on. Sun up to sundown on an old dirt farm. There ain't one thing that he can't do. He's got it all to gain, got it all to lose. Feeds his family with every seed he gets to grow. Now he knows it's a gamble every year, but if you ask him what he does to calm his fears, I hope he grows, I hope he grows. You put your head down, pray and work hard and hope it grows. I hope it grows, man, I hope it grows. You put your head down, pray and work hard and hope it grows. Dear Lord. Yeah, there's corn in the crib and hay in the barn, doing all he can to keep the family farm. Works hard every day in that Missouri sod. Well, he plows his fields with one good mule and lives his life by the golden rule. Talk to him by his daddy's hand and the word of God. Now he knows it's a gamble every year, but if you ask him what he does to calm his fears, I hope it grows, I hope it grows. You put your head down, pray and work hard and hope it grows. I hope it grows, man, I hope it grows. You put your head down, pray and work hard and hope it grows. Amen. I hope it grows, man, I hope it grows. You put your head down, pray and work hard and hope it grows. I hope it grows, oh man, I hope it grows. Put your head down, pray and work hard and hope it grows. Well, he's up every morning at the crack of dawn, all day in the clothes that he puts on. Sun up to sundown on an old dirt farm. Thank you very much. Mighty kind of you. I appreciate that.
Okay, everybody. I'm going to put my links out here, and I'm sure somebody will be in shortly. I just, yeah, I'm kind of like, I'm a little bit spacey right now too. Stay spacey. So guys, I appreciate those that are in chat. Thank you for well, okay, well, one of the things, chat, I know one thing that Pam is going to, I know one thing that Pam's going to be concerned about, especially on YouTube, is because the copyrights, and I know this is the reason why I try to keep all my stuff military, patriotic, because we pretty much know that we have permission, or we can, and I try not to. I try not to, because I don't want to be the one to get us taken down. Well, I mean, I got us taken down D Live for about a week by accident. So I wouldn't want to be the one to do that. So I know that he was talking about that earlier, being a concern about whether or not. Oh, by the way, for those out there, if you have time, if you guys have time, and if someone has time during the nights, especially need some night host or early morning host, we do need to. It might not pay anything, but it isn't too bad to do. I enjoy it. I keep coming back. Half the time I don't even get to do what I intend to do, so I don't even plan shows anymore. I just, I try to find links, and then, because my goal, when I started, my goal or my hope was to actually do call-ins. That was my hope. My goal was to, talk about faith. Do a Charlie Kirk except on YouTube and the internet. That was my goal. Is let's talk about it. If you disagree with what the Bible says, let's talk about it. And anyway, that was my goal, to do that. But it evolved into something totally different. That's one reason why I started my Bible study, my journey through the Bible on my own, is because I wanted to get the Bible. Anyway, and so with that being said, I am going to bug out. I just can't stay up another 2 or 3 hours. And it's like I mentioned to Chris, and I'll mention it every time, for those that are new. It's like, well, where did everybody go? Why isn't there a host? Well, this is one of the slots that we need help with, and to cover. And I'm losing my train of thought. But this is one of the times we need coverage, and I would do it if I didn't have a job to do later, and I've got to be up in a couple of hours. So everybody, this is Deb 65 with On a Wing of Prayer. Go with peace. Go with Jehovah Shalom, or go in Shalom. Go with God. This is Deb 65 with On a Wing of Prayer. Signing off until next week. Until the next time.